911, what's your emergency? Someone ran into someone else's fence. It's a Chevy truck. Okay, are there still people inside it? I think it's a female and a male, I think. There's blood everywhere.
After the 911 call was made, they dispatched police, fire and ambulance to what they initially thought to be a motor vehicle incident. Getting there, on the passenger seat, they found 20-year-old Ronald Scarlag, popularly known as Junior, and the driver 18-year-old Anissa Schroeder. Both of them were shot at point-blank range by someone who had been sitting at the back of their car. It is safe to say that they did not see the attack coming. Looking through the car, they found a bag of marijuana, a gun and some money, and it was a question of whether it was a robbery or a drug deal gone wrong. At the scene of the crime, there was a long trail of blood which investigators concluded that after the shooting, the car kept moving until it came to a natural stop and the perpetrator got out of the car and ran in the direction of the blood trail as there was some partial shoe prints on the ground. Then they made a turn into an apartment block where he asked or rather demanded a couple to give him a ride out of the area. According to the witnesses, earlier that day, they had been leaving when an African-American man stopped them. He was out of breath and in a state of urgency. They complied and drove him, dropping him along a street. When looking for suspects, one Raymond Sean Holmes came to the investigators' radar. He was Ronald's friend. When investigators got to his house, he was eager to share the information he had about the incident. During this interview, he placed blame on another individual named Tay.
I don't care. If you got a half pound in your house right now, I don't care.
I smoke weed. I ain't gonna lie to you. One of my best friends, so.
Tay told you he was in their car.
In the truck, yeah.
In the truck, Suburban, and you bought 2 pounds of dope. How close are he and Junior?
Close enough, Junior, trust him.
Tay, scary like that? I mean, would he do something like this?
He's a robber.
He's a robber, maybe he's a robber.
He will rob somebody. You know what I'm saying? He's known for that.
I kill him.
That I can't answer.
Following a surveillance put out on him, Tay was stopped together with his then 8-month pregnant girlfriend, Ashley Edwards, and they were both brought in for further questioning. The two were placed in separate rooms.
Alright.
Okay. What's your name? Martavis Keys.
Word spread around the station pretty fast, and that's when some piece of interesting information came to light. Tay was actually a confidential informant who reported to a police officer in the same station about ongoing or planned crimes in the area of Waterloo. This shifted the interrogation because they did not know whether to treat him as a witness or a suspect. Being an informant, his story had credibility and he proceeded to give out information willingly.
Everything that happened. Y'all know everything that happened. I was in the truck when it happened.
You were in the
I was in the truck when it happened. Junior picked me up and we got in the car. There was already a guy in the car. There was already a guy in the car. When I got in the car, them two was arguing. The guy in the back, he took on and slapped him. And then dude pulled the pistol. And then dude bang, shot him. I froze up like, man, what you doing? What you doing? So then I hop out and just run. I run to the broad apartment building. And then somebody was pulling out. I hopped in there like, can I get a ride?
How much is it?
No, not him.
Number 3.
Damn, that's him.
How sure are you?
I'm like 199% sure. Yeah, that's that man.
The next step was to find out who this mystery man who had been identified by Tay as the man who had been having a confrontation with the victims and ultimately pull the trigger on them. The suspect, he pointed out, was Clarence Flowers. Tay begins to talk about how unsafe he felt going back and his concern over his security seemed to be valid. They put them in a hotel room with a police officer right outside as protective custody, aka making sure they do not go anywhere. The next day, they highlighted Ashley's part of the story where she said that Tay had told her that he had later gone to one of his friend's house by the name of Mark. He was then put through a polygraph test, and in as much as these tests aren't admissible in court, it gives investigators a chance to see the reaction of the suspect and how actively they're willing to give information.
They came back to I knew I was telling the truth.
Investigators went out looking for Mark, On getting there, Mark informed them that Tay had indeed gone to his house all covered in blood. He had left smudges on the walls, doors and even the kitchen floor, but what was more telling was the fact that he had a gun with him. Clarence Flowers, the man Tay had pointed out in his earlier statement as the shooter, had been located and dismissed as a suspect because he had a rock-solid alibi and was nowhere near Waterloo during the time of the shooting. They found the area where they saw evidence of a recent fire, and it was clear to them that someone had tried to get rid of evidence. Ashley also pointed them in the direction where Tay had disposed the gun, which they retrieved using specialized divers. Tay asked to talk to his girlfriend and he confessed to the murder to her, which was recorded. He had intended on stealing 2 pounds of marijuana from Junior. This was a crucial moment as they knew that they could go ahead and prosecute him for the double homicide. He was taken to court where a jury found him guilty in the first degree of the double homicide and was given a life sentence with no possibility of parole. According to his mother, Ronald was a caring man who loved and took care of his family. Although he was a small-time drug dealer, he kept his family away from that part of his life. He had an infectious smile and laughter. Anissa as well had a great personality, caring and would never do or say anything that would hurt anybody. The 2 lives were brutally and unfairly ended, and in as much as the families got justice, the wounds of losing a child, a sister and a father cannot be healed. For more videos, like and subscribe, and until next time, take care of yourself and I love you.